Welcome to MR8 Essential Training, lesson number 5. Today we are going to learn how to receive records and also process those received records. We are going to learn receiving records individually. What I mean by that is that if your office is set up that when mail comes in, you distribute those to individual case processors. So if you are working on a particular case, then case manager will simply open that mail and find out what type of records are coming in for the case that person is working on. So it's your individuals are processing those records. On the other hand, if you have a receptionist, a person who's in charge of incoming mail, you might do this in batch mode. So for example, let's say I'm in charge of pulling those records out and I know which order number, which part number these records belong to, and I'll record the fact that we are receiving something from these custodians. So you have a way to do that in batch modes. So we'll see those two. Once you receive records, we'll see how the production will flow through. Let me show you the actual workflow here. Let's say we received records, either individually or in batches. As I change my tracking step, then tracking alert will be generated, notifying somebody in the production department that we have received something. So it's your turn, production department, to start pagination, scanning, uploading to the repository, and so on. And we'll be going to a function called turn in under the production menu. Then we'll do what's called updating items, entering the number of units or number of pages, because once the production finishes the pagination, we know how many pages, so that's updating items. Then we will upload those records. We'll most likely scan those into PDF files and we'll upload to the repository. Then we'll send email notifications to all the attorneys who are ordering copies saying that those records are available. So if you have an MR web, email will go out to the attorneys and they can click on the hyperlink and it will take them to the login page and they can download records immediately, even before we send them a paper copies of the records. With this production flow in mind, let's take a look at how we are going to do this in MR8. Let's look at receiving records individually. I'm working on that big pharma case. Mail person or receptionist just dropped a couple envelopes on my desk, and then I opened it up and I noticed that it's coming in from the Memorial Hermann Hospital. So I'm going to go to case manager function. I don't know the order number, but I know the case name, so I'm just going to type big, search, Lee versus a big pharma. That's the case I'm working on. And we got 4 parts or 4 work orders under this case. And today we got something from Memorial Hermann Hospital. So I right click on that part and say receive records. It's telling me that we have not received anything so far from this custodian. The reason we do this is to stop you from entering a duplicate record. So it's just a caution. This is the very first time. So I'll just go ahead and right click, new. And it'll basically pull up a window that says new record, and everything will be all filled in automatically for you. It's waiting for number of pages. At this point, all I'm doing is recording the fact that we have received something. And then the only thing I might do is we have received via priority mail. That's it. Save and close. You also notice that there is a checkbox that says no record. Sometimes you might simply receive a affidavit of no records, ANR. You received from the custodian affidavit saying we do not have the records. All I can do is check this box saying there are no records. You can still bill for that. There's another box up here. That whole custodian or work order has been canceled. I also need to enter this for cancellation billing so that I can bill this location. So you might check that box, or no record, or actually received something. Save and close. Starting from my part or work order, right click and receive records and indicate how you received it. And that's all you're doing, receiving records. What about if your office works a little differently? You have a person designated processing in batch mode. You can actually go to orders and receive records function and do it from here, new. You will be entering the order number, part number yourself. First one is 5063, tab part number 2. radiology, and this we came in via UPS. You got 29 more to do, so instead of doing save and close, we say save and new, and then it'll give you the next one, order number 5002, part number 3, search, and then you type in how you received it, and then save and new, repeating this until you go through the entire stack of today's mail. This is how you will be receiving records in batch modes. And you can also mix the two. Let me go back to here from Memorial Hermann Hospital. The one more thing I need to do as I receive this, let's go back in here, view mode. I just recorded the fact that we have received something from this custodian. Well, then I also need to change the tracking step. So I go to the tracking tab and say change step, records received. Okay. So that we are at the tracking step of records received. This is what generates the alert in the message center in MR8, so that in your tracking step, whoever is supposed to be notified, hopefully the production manager and or production staff, will be now getting an alert in the message center, and that person will be now going in to production turn-in function. So now I'm working in MR8. The alerts comes through the message center saying that we have received the record, and it's my turn as a production person to go ahead and start processing it. So I'll go to a function called turn-in. I'll be entering the order number 5063 and search, and then I see the part number 1. Right click and go view. These are the 4 steps that involves both production and billing. In lesson number 6, we'll go over billing in detail. All we're interested in right now is what production person will do. Production person will be working with step 1, add items. Notice that the item is already there because either case coordinator or receptionist already entered through the receive records function that we have received something. So this is called item. You may receive multiple items from the same custodian. Sometimes, for example, doctor's office, you might receive 10 pages of medical records, and then 2 days later, from the doctor's billing service, you might receive 3 pages of billing record. So you might have multiple items here. Each time you receive something, it gets added as an item, and we bill by each item. After you do the pagination, you simply need to update this item. So let me go right click on it, view, tell the system how many pages or units that we have. I counted it, I base stamped it, and then total we have 23 pages of medical records. Second thing you're going to do is we need to now upload that PDF image of those scanned records. So let's say I scanned it, created a PDF file out of it. Next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to upload that. Go find my medical records, which I just scanned. This is the hospital records. That's the 23 pages. Open it. You can change the file type, whatever you want to call it. It's going to leave it as a exhibit. And I'm going to publish it, and then I'm going to type a description says doctor's notes. If you have MR Web, publish will enable your clients to view and download these records as long as they have access to them immediately, even before my hard copy gets there. So with that, I just save and close. And now we have the hospital records scanned and uploaded to our repository just like that. Now the last thing you need to do is send the notifications. So click on this button, and this will pull up all the records you uploaded. Right now we only have 1. At the bottom you list all the attorneys who are ordering by their waiver responses, indicated they want a copy of this particular custodian's records. And there are 2 attorneys here and their email addresses. So all you need to do is click the button send notifications, and this will send out emails to these 2 attorneys telling them the records are now available for download, and they'll click the hyperlink and it'll take them to MR Web login page. So that's what production person will do. Update the page count to 23, upload the records to the repository and publish them, and then send notifications. And that simply readies the whole thing for billing department to continue on, which we will see in the next lesson.